welcome to our Sizigi Talk session with Antoine Hong, my dear friend from USC. And he's a business analytics enthusiast with experience in consulting and data analytics. He has previously interned at Deloitte as an Analytics and Cognitive Intern and is currently interning at McKinsey Co as a Summer Research Analyst. Hello, Antoine. Welcome to our Sizigi Talk session. How are you doing today?
Hi, Besa. Doing great. Thank you for having me today. I'm excited to be here.
Thank you so much for accepting to be a part of our Sizigi Talk sessions. So let's go ahead and start with our first question. I'm pretty sure a lot of people are wondering this. What skills and traits do you think are desired the most by McKinsey?
Yeah, I think that's a really good question. I think in the consulting world in general, I think some of the skills necessary you always hear about is, good communication. That's extremely important, actually, just because you're you face the client all the time, like you got to talk to them. You need to be clear about your goals and what you want to do. So communication, not only to client, but also to the team is really important. I was actually able to see that, working with teams, you had to communicate efficiently, and just there's a lot of sometimes miscommunication that you need to understand. So that's one extremely important aspect of consulting, but not only consulting. I think it's in every job, communication is key. I think something that I personally thought was important, and I don't think a lot of consulting company emphasize, is really be curious, open-minded, and adaptable. So consulting is, it's not like a fixed job where every day you do the same thing. I think that's really what attracted me is that every day, well, not every day, but it's always different, I think, depending on the project you have. So I had a project, for example, in a tech company for a couple of weeks, and then I was able to rotate to another program, to another project in something completely different in education. So be adaptable. Don't be adaptable. Be able to learn and be curious about really the project, the people you're going to meet. I think that's also very important before coming into consulting.
I realize that you're highlighting mostly soft skills, right?
Yeah, I think hard skills is also important, but I feel like a lot of people emphasize too much on the hard skills, I believe.
Yeah.
Analytics, coding, programming, all those software you need to know. I feel like I would say the soft skills comes first before that in consulting, because again, client facing, again, at the end you're serving people, and then as a consultant, I think you are the face of the company. I think there's a lot of back end that you don't see, research analyst people behind that. They might need more hard skills, but the consultant really, you do need to, have all the soft skills that are really important.
I agree with you, and I think it's not only for consulting; it's for every single job. Soft skills are pretty important. So let's move on to our second question. What areas of strategy consulting do you think are in demand that you have seen so far?
That I've seen, yeah. Well, recently we live in a pretty special era, and then there's actually at McKinsey I saw there's a specific sector they call distress consulting, which is moments of of crisis, right now. This consultants that are specialized in that area, whether there's a pandemic or catastrophe, a earthquake or those kind of crisis. Those are in huge demand because those people know how to work when there's a crisis, and that's extremely important right now. That's something I think was pretty special. I didn't know about it before coming to consulting, that it was a special field about how to deal with crisis and how to give advice.
Is it risk management? Is it named risk management?
Yeah, it is kind of risk management, but more like giving advice on like those people actually know like what to do when an earthquake happens. Like they have previous knowledge in when those crises happened before. So for example, actually, like I met someone who is in that like field, and he, for example, knew about previous pandemic before, like the SARS pandemic in 2003. Like he knew his topic, and he could actually like use those previous pandemic to help on COVID-19. And another important one actually is obviously like technology. Like tech consultants are really in the demand right now because so many companies, you know, they want to transition to, you know, like more like being more digital. Like obviously, like people are using Zoom, people are using, you know, like all these online platforms. And the truth is that a lot of companies are reaching out to consulting companies in order to help them like implement new technology. To, you know, like keep up against to keep up and to just alleviate some heavy costs that you know, like they need. Like example, I just want to say one example. For example, like retails, like they're doing terrible right now. Tourism is doing terrible, but they're trying to, you know, like implement new. Yeah, they're trying to like implement new ways to attract customers online now. Though, so I've heard some projects going on in those areas where they need advice really on how to, you know, get some profit.
Yeah, that makes sense. We are really going through some interesting times. And another question, what's the thing you like the most about the consulting industry and why?
Yeah, so honestly, for me, what attracted me to consulting really was like the flexibility in all the projects you have. Like I said before, like every project is so different. You have a different team, like you have a completely different like industry, and then just having like something that always changes and always makes you learn more is really like really is attracted me because I'm like personally I'm someone who always like changes or like something new, and I would hate having a job where like it's something like you do it, so something you do is always repetitive, it's always the same. So like being able to like explore different industries and not only explore but also like work with different team, also travel is a super important part. And unfortunately I wasn't able to do it this summer because I can't travel anywhere, but like those experience made that I think that industry so attractive these days. That's what I like.
So we got a question from one of our audience. She Anna Maria asked, "What project had the most impact on you?"
Yeah, one of the projects I worked this summer was about banks actually, like so the financial market, how they're handling during that crisis, and I was able to identify, you know, like learn about how they were dealing with the pandemic. The research aspect of it was extremely important, and I'm not someone like really. I never thought about like entering the financial market, but like learning from it and learning from it and being kind of forced to learn from it because that was my project. Like I was so rewarding. I learned that actually the financial market is doing surprisingly well and, for multiple reasons. And then banks are actually being resilient and just lots of these like stuff that I would never know if I didn't get that project. So I think that was the most interesting project I had. And I worked on it with a team of amazing people. I think that made it also very very rewarding. The people I was working with on that project were super supporting. They knew I didn't have a lot of financial knowledge in that area, but they still were able to, taught me like 20 years of their own experience in the financial market in like a couple of weeks. So that honestly was my best memory of like that.
That sounds really interesting. So would you say that consulting firms are sort of an extension of school because you learn so much as you work?
Oh, definitely. I think, yeah, that's the exact word. I think like it's definitely like going, because so I don't know, I guess I'm gonna talk about this first. Like I had a lot of training first of all before going. They teach you a lot about how like how to do PowerPoints, how to communicate effectively, how to do research, how to, like use their internal resources, which seems like a bit like school because you need like all those trainings and you need to learn a lot before going into the workforce. So for me, I definitely feel like that was a huge learning experience. And not only a learning experience from the consultants, but also from like the internal, they have a lot of internal tools for you to grow. So for example, I know a lot of consultants, they still go through trainings, even though they've worked there for 5, 6, 7 years. And they said like their learning never stops actually, just because as a consultant, you can't know everything, like there's some industries you might not know. You have to keep up the news. So it is an extension of school because you're learning every day on the job too.
It is a very dynamic environment, it sounds like.
Yeah, very dynamic, always changing and always ready to, learn from the job.
And could you talk a little bit about the company culture of the companies that you have worked for so far, Deloitte and McKinsey?
Yeah. So obviously this summer was also a bit different. So I was actually fortunate to work at the office for a little bit, and then I had to work from home most of the time. But from my limited time at the office, honestly, the culture was amazing. I think at McKinsey, they really value your work, even as an intern. Like no one really considered me as an intern. They really considered me as like someone on the team, really. So I was able to take on like really some jobs that were given to anyone else in the company, not only because I was an intern. The culture overall is amazing. People are really open. So I've had like coffee chats, for example, with a lot of people, lunch with people as well. They really open and want to learn actually from us actually, because we're like the younger generation. Some of them, like they worked there for like 10, 15 years and they feel like disconnected sometimes with the younger generation. They were really happy to see me, for example, and chat and talk about, my perspective, what I wanted to do. Yeah, exactly. So like this is all about this, right? All these talks are about learning from us. So there's a lot to learn as well from them. We've also had like a great culture, like for example, Friday, like Friday nights, like we would have like a happy hour in the office. They would give us like free, free stuff to eat. Like they would order something.
That's amazing.
Yeah, because Friday is the weekend, right? It's coming. So we work a lot. We work hard. So they try to make everything more relaxing. At least the culture. That's what I saw. At least. I wish I stayed longer, and I wish that I was in the office more, because that would have been different than working from home for sure.
I mean, hopefully you'll do it right after you graduate too, and you're a senior, so you have only a year ahead of you, right?
I know. Really hope so.
Yeah, and lastly, I know that you're a business analytics and disruptive technology enthusiast. So I wanted to ask you, what is your favorite disruptive technology right now?
That's a hard one. There's a lot going, I think, right now.
Our CEO, Tony Malls, asked me to ask you this question. So
No, yeah, I'll try to pick one because there's a lot I think is going on. Honestly, God. Yeah, I want to say, maybe it sounds very cliche, but like big data is huge and it'll become always huge.
I agree with you.
And the reason is because we're collecting so much information these days. Like the fact that the COVID-19 happened, I'm sure we even collected even more information about people because people, on the internet even more, like they're like, getting
online all the time.
Online all the time. You're watching Netflix, that's some information given to people. You're taking Zoom, like maybe there's information too. So not only big data, but like security, I think it's a super hot topic right now. It's security of the data you use. I think that's not really a disruptive technology, but it's I think something I hope will generate more ideas and more technology in order to like use those data and make it more secure in some ways, I would say.
Yeah, no, exactly. Thank you so much for this fun and insightful conversation, Antoine. It's been a pleasure having you on our Sizigi Talk.
Thank you, Beza. That was great.
Thank you to all of our audience as well for participating in the Sizigi Talk and listening to us and asking questions. This week is focused on the consulting industry. Actually, we have another question I want to answer. Like, if you have time, Antoine, can we answer that as well?
Yeah.
Okay. Anna Maria also asked, what do you think about Bitcoin? As security increases, do you think we have more potential to switch? Very interesting.
I didn't hear the last part. So Bitcoin and what?
As security increases, do you think we have more potential to switch?
So as in like switch from Bitcoin to securities, is that what you're saying?
I think she's saying like from like money to Bitcoin, like fully digitalized currency.
Got it. Honestly, I was looking a little bit. I think Bitcoin actually went up recently. I'm not too familiar with that aspect. As I told you, finance is not my area of expertise. But from what I've heard, I don't think Bitcoin will be the next currency soon. I think there was a huge hype of the Bitcoin a couple of years ago, and then it really decreased a lot, and it was like less, like we talked less about Bitcoin. I don't think this pandemic made Bitcoin more attractive either. So my answer is I don't think it will change very soon. But also, I'm not an expert in this subject, so I don't want to dive into it without knowing a lot.
But thank you so much for answering it, and thank you so much for your time, Antoine, also.
Yeah. No worries. Thank you, Beza.
Yeah, and I want all of our audience to tune in next Thursday as well. We are having another great guest, just like Antoine, on Thursday, Phil Zager, who has worked as a consultant at the World Bank and now working as a consultant at Booz Hamilton. And he's also a USC alumni. Fight on.
Fight on.
So, okay, guys, see you next time. Bye.